There she is.
Hi, guys. You guys are like all official, probably in the badass softy podcasting spot.
Not really. We're not there yet. It hasn't been made.
Okay.
We're in our kitchen against our curtains. There's our.
Oh, it looks very official. It
I
looks
know it
like you're
looks
in
very
like a booth.
official. And then let me show you. Let's see, where is it?
And by the way, you're good too. We're just doing audio still.
Right.
Yeah.
Right
Okay,
here.
see this right here?
Yeah.
This is when I left my curtains in my car for too long and bleached them. That's
funny.
like the cover. And so it's been there since I moved in. And so now I have to, and there's a little bleached line right there too. But
I
so
would never have seen that.
It
I would have
just looks
just
like
thought it
shadow.
was
and
like,
everybody's, wow, you're like in an official spot. I'm like, no, we're right next door chips.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Hey,
and I look like I'm in jail. I'm just against the white wall here.
before we get started, I just want to say thank you to you both. And by the way, Jamie, you're looking dashing today. Did you just
Like I said, I like,
did you just moisturize? It looks great up there.
No.
that's why I said, I'm like, you asshole, you look better than me.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. I was just born camera ready, I guess.
Life isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. And along the way, we all stumble, learn, and keep going.
Welcome to Running Ahrens, a podcast about navigating marriage, parenting, business, faith, and all the unexpected detours that come along with it.
We're Justin and Sarah Ahrens, partners in life, business, and raising 4 incredible kids.
For over 30 years, we've been figuring things out as we go. Sometimes successfully, and sometimes, well, not so much.
But that's the beauty of hindsight. We're here to share the lessons we've learned, the wins, the failures, and the moments that have shaped us.
Through honest conversations, special guests, and maybe even a few stories from our kids, we'll explore what it really takes to grow, adapt, and move forward.
So whether you're running a business, a household, or just running late,
You're in the right place. Let's do this together.
we're glad you're here. Welcome to Running Ahrens.
You guys, thank you so much for being on Running Errands. We're just so pleased to see you. I wish we could be in person.
I know that would probably be too much chaos, to be honest.
That'd be
Well,
like 8
for
episodes.
recording,
Yeah.
but not for like life. 'Cause
No,
we-
not
we
for
owe
life.
You guys,
No.
We owe you guys a national trip. We are overdue for that. And so it is.
Yes,
time.
I'm putting it on the podcast for accountability. We are going to come down to Nashville and take you guys out to a wonderful dinner because we missed the wedding. And then we're going to hug and have just an awesome night.
We have a great place to take you to.
Yeah.
Our new favorite place here in town, that it was named the best restaurant in the South. And
Wow.
and they're like good, they're friends of ours. So it's really fun.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
What
Before
kind
we
of
go on,
food is it?
I'm going to say you got to tell us one of your favorite dishes just so we can like dream about it.
There
It's wood-fired Asian small plates.
is what
Is what the type of food is.
Awesome.
So it's like wood-fired Asian fusion tapas. So you get 20 different things and you just share all of it.
So many words in
Really
that
good.
sentence are my favorite thing.
Yeah. So like the tuna crispy rice
Yeah.
is unreal. Like it's stupid. So yeah, but everything there is good.
Really good.
Because last time you took us to I think it was an Indian restaurant. Was it Indian?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
So
so
good.
good.
So
That
that
was
was
great.
our favorite. Now this is our new favorite.
That may have been one of the last times we went.
No, we haven't
actually
been there
we haven't been back
because
since
we
then.
go there. We go here all the time. So it's
Yeah,
Oh, I
because
love
that was
it.
probably a year and a half, almost 2 years, over 2 years ago.
probably was.
That's
It was,
too
yeah.
long. Too long.
All right, JJ. So why don't we share with our listeners, because I'm sure they're dying to hear how you and I met. Let's talk about your life at the time. And I was trying to think today, I know when it was generally, but did we meet through Justin Narducci, or how did we meet? I don't
Yeah.
remember.
Yep. I was working for Life in Abundance and I was kind of leading, quote unquote, their communication. So more just like when I started working there, we had to pull, we had to pull handwritten papers out of a file drawer to figure out who the email addresses we needed to send things to. So that's where we started, was like, so Justin's, you're the head of communications. You're the communications director. We need to give you a title. And so I started putting together some emails, and he was, I think, already working with you on some branding and website stuff. And we then started working together on creating a full brand for that nonprofit, and then ultimately moved into a photo book and a documentary that we made, and all to raise awareness and funds for this incredible organization that was doing community development in Africa.
Yeah, that all was wonderful that we did that. But my favorite times.
I'm already a little nervous.
I know all these stories, and I still can't wait to hear them again.
We're not going to tell them all. And Jim, you've probably heard these already, but is when you and I were stuck in a van in the middle of different countries in Africa, what one does to make each other laugh.
Yes, especially when you're tired and we did all night shoots sometimes, and then we didn't sleep because we were on like hard beds, and then of course we were like, our stomachs were awful because we're eating food that we hadn't eaten before, and so just not sleeping, incredibly exhausted, and then driving down the road and getting 4 flat tires in one afternoon, and it's 100 degrees, we're by the equator, and you just have to be stupid and make each other laugh, because otherwise. And
you and I both run hot, so Africa's not really friendly to us. Number one. Number two, let's be clear about something very specific. And Jamie, you probably don't know this, but I was told, I think the first 3 days, whatever you do not eat any local food made in the villages that we're in, because we were out in the bush. And I think I had at that point in this one day, maybe 20 Cliff Bars. It was packed in there. And we're at this house, and this family is amazing. And they offered JJ food, and he goes, okay. Whoop. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't sound like you at all.
Yeah. I grew up as a missionary in Kenya, and the prayer that you pray as a missionary is, Lord, I'll put it down if you keep it down. And that was just, was very much, because for some of these people, it's like their food for the week, and now they're offering it to you as a gift, and to turn it down is not kind. And you just go, yeah, okay. I've eaten curdled sour milk with cow's blood in it in the middle of Kenya, and you just go, I'm throwing up later. I know I'm throwing up later. This is going to happen, but I need to accept what has been given to me in this moment.
Let me turn the corner here a little bit, because you and I could tell these stories all the time. Jamie, let's start with you. What Sarah and I were talking about today, what we'd love to just talk about is your life up to when you met JJ, just a little background of how it got to Nashville, and then we'll go up to where you guys met, and then JJ, we'll do the same with you, and then we'll talk about the now.
Yeah, unlike JJ, who's been very well world traveled, I grew up in Tennessee, lived in Tennessee, pretty much stayed in Tennessee my entire life. Never really traveled outside of that, maybe to Florida a couple of times. I was married for 16 years. Came out toward the end of that marriage, and really at 35 had to reset my entire life, because once you step out of the closet, everything kind of changes. I was married, we had 4 kids, and just stepped out of that, and I was very lucky. JJ was one of the first people that I met in that space coming out. It was a soft place to land, and meeting him was, I'm gonna get emotional. Meeting him was, I couldn't have met a better person to land in that spot. And he really helped me navigate those early parts of it. And through that friendship and me starting over, we just started seeing each other. And yeah, that's how we met. And then just a couple of years later, we moved in together. I moved up here to Nashville, and
we're gonna talk about that moment, because that's when we all met, right before that. So don't get too far.
Yeah. You guys met us right at that, in that early couple of years. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, we were pretty early in dating.
I don't want to gloss over. Like this, you kind of yada. Oh, I was married and then I came out. That's a big decision.
It was.
And I don't want to push too much, but like, what was that time like what in your head? What were the conversations with your wife to some point? I just feel like that's like a big part of the story, like a important part of the story.
The first domino to fall that for me really in that whole situation was I had always thought that I saw things a little bit differently than most people that I grew up with in a small town in Tennessee. But one day, my second oldest daughter come home, and she had told us that she was having feelings for another little girl at school. And just in that process of talking to her and helping her feel better, it really flipped some switches in me that kind of, I was like, wow, like here I'm having these thoughts and feelings my entire adult life. And here's this 13-year-old girl coming to us scared half to death and being so brave to talk to us about it. And it really inspired me in that moment to really start acknowledging some of those thoughts and feelings and starting to have those difficult conversations, first with myself, and then as I wrapped my head around it with my wife at the time. And we dealt with it. It took probably a couple of years to really work through it and what it all was going to mean. And we ultimately came to the decision to split up, and that was the best thing for us and our family and for the kids. But yeah, that was the real first step, was talking to my daughter, and then just a lot of hard conversations really to just process it all out loud, because you can be in your mind and in your head about it, all you want. And sometimes that's not the most helpful place to be.
No, my brain is a scary place to be sometimes. So I can imagine.
Yeah. Thank you, Jamey. Yeah. I appreciate that vulnerability. And you're sitting here talking, I was smirking, not because I was reveling in your pain, but it was more of what you said earlier, and I'm going to get emotional too, because I think you can relate to this, and anyone knows your partner knows this, that when I'm around JJ, I just feel better about life. And what a great connection that you guys had at that moment. I'm sure that was, outside of that he's devilishly handsome, he's also hilarious. So JJ, if we could, let's just talk about your path a little bit, because I think what's interesting, and you and I've had conversations around this before, is when we met, you were working in a very conservative field, and that's your background. How did you get to where you?
Yeah. I jokingly say that I was a professional Christian, and it was the family business. Like, my dad was a pastor. My uncles are pastors. I have 3 siblings who are all ordained pastors. I was a pastor, Bible college professor, worked in Christian nonprofit spaces, grew up on the mission field in Kenya. You name it, I did it, as far as like the Christian side of things. And yeah, and as many queer people can attest, I knew from a very young age. Like, I mean, it was, but I always just thought, if I pray hard enough or work hard enough or do the right things, then it'll eventually go away. Or even I was engaged to a woman, and I even dated, my last girlfriend was literally, she was a beauty queen. She won Miss City, Southern California, and was scouted when we were at Disneyland to play Jasmine. They recruited her to be Jasmine. Like, they saw her. Where we met was she was speaking in front of 20,000 high school kids and owned the room. And then she gave up her job and moved to Africa to work at an AIDS clinic where she supported women doing micro business. So this was like Mother Teresa. Her boyfriend before me was the kicker for the Indianapolis Colts. So she and we dated and everything. And I was like, yeah, no, it's not going to work. And I'm like, if it can't work with beauty queen Mother Teresa, like, it's not going to work. And so,
by the way, that might be the title of the show, right?
Yeah. Beauty queen Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa. And I did all the right things. I never held a guy's hand or kissed or anything. I worked very hard. And then I thought, I'll just be single and celibate. And yeah, so my life was really like giving my life to service, to living in third world countries and in slums, and traveling around the world and working with youth and raising funds and all these things, and teaching the future generation of pastors and all these things. And eventually got to the point where, through a series of events, I had signed a production deal with a reality TV show that my brothers and I were going to do, called Bad A Brothers. And the premise is that my brothers and I were so not bad A that we couldn't even say the name, and we couldn't say the word badass, and we couldn't say it. And so We would research the history behind these old laws that are still on the books, like you can't cross the Minnesota border with a duck on your head. That's a real law. Or you can't have an ice cream in your back pocket in Atlanta. And we'd research the history behind those laws, and then we'd break those laws.
By the way, I would watch that show.
Yeah, it was and my brothers are hilarious, and it's really fun. And so we made a pilot. We're getting signed and everything. And the production company, they wanted better backstories for why we wanted to be Bad A. So one of my brothers got married really young. So they were like, he's recapturing his youth. My other brother, who is a worship pastor, he was metrosexual. So they were like, we're manning him up. And then with me, the story was chicks dig the bad boy, and I was the single one. And so that's why I wanted to break these laws, was so that I could get married. Then the show
my God,
and became about finding JJ a wife. And that, for some weird reason, was the first time that I was like, if I go through with this, now I'm really going to be lying to people. And it would also lock me into, it would be a scandal if I never planned on coming out at that point, but it was still like, what if someday in the future I kiss a guy and this becomes a scandal and I was the guy on the TV show who was trying to get married? And that's when I actually ended up in the hospital. I had I thought I was having heart attacks, but they were just panic attacks. And that
don't just panic attacks.
Yes.
Panic attacks are real and scary.
Yes. And it was really like, the actual moment was I was in the hospital. They had run all these tests, and the doctor came out to me and said, there's nothing physically wrong with you. You're going to live. And I was disappointed in that moment. And that's when I went, something's wrong here. I actually have to think about this and address this. And that began my journey. Now that's 10, 11 years ago, of figuring out what it meant for my faith and my family and my career, because I basically had to walk away from not my family, but pretty much everything else, and figure out, like, what do I really believe? Who am I really? What does my future look like? And how do I make money? And that was a whole process that kind of I went through. And ultimately at the time, really from a faith perspective, was like, I don't actually know what God really feels about this, but I know that moving forward, I'm not being disobedient. Like, it was one of those things where I went on what was called I decided to do a 40-day journey that I called feasting and fasting. And this is sorry, Jug, I'm answering it. It's really long, but I went on what I called a 40-day feasting and fasting, to where I would go to a monastery for a week of solitude and silence. And then I'd go on a wine tour in Napa. And then I'd go back to a monastery. And then I went to Vegas. And then I'd go back to a monastery. And my heart was to try to hear, like, my own voice and God's voice, figuring out, like, what am I supposed to do here in the feasting and fasting of, like, silence and then, like, wine. And by the end of that, I came to three truths. God loves me. I have people who love me, and I'm going to be okay. And I wanted something much more concrete, but that's what I walked away with. So I just said, okay, I'm going to start figuring out what this means. And I said, I might be wrong. I know where I stood theologically and scripturally. I have a master's in theology, and in my PhD, I studied theology. So I have 3 Bible degrees. So I know theologically where I stand. But at the end of it, I was like, I might be wrong, but I'm not doing this out of disobedience. And so that's that piece of that journey. And then ultimately moved to Nashville to work for a company called StoryBrand that uses narrative theory and marketing to help companies. And then ultimately that's when I met Jamey, was out here a few years later. And
so you both, I get to go first. You stop. Okay. You talk too much. You both had they're almost similar stories, very different in how they originated, but they're very similar in how you discovered your truth and who you are. And do you think that lended to the way you guys can connect? Because it's not a similar story, but yet it is so similar.
Yeah.
In that you thought you were one thing at the beginning of life, and then at this point you're like, whoa, no, that wasn't who I am created to be. This is who I'm created to be.
Yeah. I think we were both 35
Yeah.
when we came out, and we're not the same age now, but we were at the same age we both came out. 5. Yeah, there's something about feeling like you don't fit in a mold your entire life and then coming to terms with it later in life that definitely is something that I think that we've definitely connected on. It just puts you in the same like place as far as like your connection with yourself and with other people.
I love that. Just reality too, the age thing. That doesn't feel like a coincidence to me. But just really quick, JJ, going back, help me remember, because I remember you and I connected when you were at the college, you were a dean at the college or something, and something seemed off. I couldn't have put my finger on it, and then you disappeared. I know why now. And did you text me? I can't remember. Did you come out on a podcast and did you text me? Because I feel that's when I first heard. Does that sound right?
It might have been. I came out, it was a 2-year process for me of where I tried as hard as I could to do face-to-face with every single person that I came out to. It was 2 years of, because I took my show money and like I had, for my 40th birthday, because I had always thought I wouldn't live till I was 40, to be honest. And so but I was coming up to, I knew 40 was coming. And I decided I would save a bunch of money and go to Greece and rent a house and tell all of my friends I was paying for them to come. So I had saved like a lot of money and I just lived off of that money basically for 2 years. And so for 2 years, I lived out of my car, slept on people's couches, and then just basically drove around all the places I had lived and came out to people one-on-one, like sometimes breakfast, lunch, and dinner, like 3-4 times conversations a day. And so I had hundreds of those conversations because when you come from a world where you're a spiritual mentor, like a pastor and a professor in those spaces, like it can feel very betraying to people. And so I wanted to make sure I didn't want anything to be a scandal. I didn't want anybody to find out in any weird way. So I just spent those 2 years, those couple years after I left the school, going around, and I did odd jobs like in Hollywood and things like that and speaking at places, and then just literally came out of the closet for 2 years. That was my full-time job. And then I got asked to be on a podcast, the Liturgist podcast, which was, I didn't know who they were. It wasn't really something I thought was a big deal. And that was like the moment where I was like, I had to talk to as many people as possible before that got out. So I imagine that what I probably did is right before that came out, I was like, I'm not going to be able to drive to Chicago, so I'm going to text Justin and tell him before this comes out. So I was trying to get to everybody before that happened. And then, yeah, it came out and it exploded. And I think 16 million listens. And I still sometimes get recognized in the airport, like from people and things like that who come up to me and say, and that was now 10, 11 years ago. But
I want to say thank you for texting me. Of course, I would have preferred you to be in person, but but I totally get it. And thank you for sharing that. And so tell me, you've already told me, but share with our listeners, if you would, how did you guys originally meet?
We met on, so in
the very classic, timeless romance story.
Yeah, on the apps.
I love it.
But it's one of the things we talk about, because we don't actually fully know whether it was like a dating app or Facebook or Instagram. It was all three at the same time. Because we're part of what we would say the bear community. So in the gay community, there are different kind of sometimes subgenres. There's twinks and there's bears and there's like leather daddies and there's like different kind of.
Oh my God, I had no idea.
Oh yeah, we could go into what a wolf and a fox.
That'll be dinner.
All of those things. That'll be dinner. But we're part of the bear community, which is a very kind of tight knit. It's basically big hairy guys. And so like when you're friends with like 10 of those guys on Facebook, then when anybody new comes into the community, you get suggested as a friend. And so I saw him on Facebook because he had come out and he'd started connecting with different bears. And I'd seen him on Facebook, but we didn't connect. And then he got suggested on Instagram. And then I think we got matched on the dating app. And I think the first time we actually talked was on Instagram.
Yeah. So does that mean we owe Meta AI's algorithm?
I think so.
For our relationship?
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you,
Yeah.
Mark.
So yeah, that's how it started. And then he was pretty new coming out. And we joked about this a little bit before, is that like we became friends and like we went on a couple dates. And the way that I would like tell people, I'm like, I really like him, but he lives an hour and a half away. He's got 4 kids. He's newly coming out. He's separated from his wife. And it's just, no, we're just gonna be friends.
Every possible red flag.
So that's just like any other couple, gay or straight. It's gosh, there's a lot of stuff there, right? Yeah.
So we got to know, and it was during the pandemic, so we actually didn't get to see each other a lot. So we were like texting and calling. So we got to know each other from afar because we couldn't really be around each other because of the pandemic. And so we developed a friendship and started dating, and we dated for about maybe 9 months or like talking, going on some dates before it was like, oh yeah, let's make this official. And then we're together a few more years. And then through some circumstances, they moved up here.
Yeah.
Want to honor our story is that Jamey and the kids moved up here. And that's the part that we want to honor is our part of the story.
And we'll honor it.
I became a dad, and oddly enough, it was the weekend I became a dad was the weekend my dad died, and it happened at the same time, and it was a wild season. And what didn't happen, like we had a little bit of planning time, but then it was instant, like mourning my dad while also figuring out like how to register for schools and figure out summer camps and buy, the first school year, we bought all the wrong school clothes because we didn't even know there was a dress code. And it was all of that stuff. And then going to 50 million birthday parties. Nobody told me that being a parent, your main job is to go to elementary birthday parties. That's one of the worst.
Some of the worst. It's some of the worst.
Yeah. So that was now 3 years ago.
When I moved up?
Yeah.
It'll be 3 years in
yeah. And then we got married last October.
Yeah.
We were going to get married earlier. And then when the kids moved in, we decided to hold off for a little bit and allow things to settle and allow them to feel a little more grounded and not as much transition. And then we got married last October. Yeah.
And so the instant family is just fascinating to me because that's a huge adjustment. Because so often, one thing I would say, people would come to us and be like, oh my gosh, how do you have 4 kids? And I'm like, I did it. We did it one at a time. It's not like it happened all at once. And for you, it didn't. Like you went from and that's a big adjustment. And I would just love to hear how that plays out for both of you, because it was a change. And I know for me, like when I have all the practice in the world, I can still feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm playing house. I'm in charge of humans' lives, and it's really overwhelming. So I would love to hear how that plays out for you guys.
Yeah, it was one of you. I mean, it was, what is it? So just
hold on, you're going to let him talk and then you talk.
I am. But I was going to say, so he had 4 kids, 2 are in college now, and 2 live with us. So right now, our oldest who lives with us is 16 and our youngest is 8. And then there's 2 in college. 17. Yeah, she just turned 17 a couple weeks ago. So 17 and 8 and then 2 in college. So that's just to set that up. But go ahead.
With the transition and everything happening, my wife and I getting separated and JJ and I dating, there was about a 2-year period there where it was like just me parenting by myself and had 50-50 custody with my ex-wife. So I would have him for a week. She would have him for a week. And we fell into a rhythm. I don't know that it was necessarily a healthy rhythm, but we got by the best we could. But moving up here with JJ, JJ was born to be a dad.
I would totally echo.
It is in every molecule of his DNA. He is the best at. He's been such a calming influence. And like I said, he was a safe place for me to land, not only like in my transition of coming out, but in moving from again, I don't want to tell somebody else's story, but moving from not the best situation and an unhealthy situation into a much more healthier place and giving me the space to really heal and grow as a person that I had really been putting off for the last 20 years and had just pushed down and not dealt with. So not only did he take on the children, but he also took on a 40-year-old man baby who was really just learning how to grow up. And we couldn't have gotten to where we are now if he hadn't been the calming influence on our family as he has been. Like, he has settled everything down and brought us out of all the chaos and all the transition into a really good place right now.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh, I can imagine.
But yeah, yes,
So-
all of that is true. And our initial plan was to keep things the way the 50-50 was before. And then that.
Yeah, because hold on, if I remember, when the four of us had dinner together, at the time, I know Jamie got up and went to the bathroom, and I look at you, and I was just like, dude, you're going to be a parent. And you were like equally excited and I think equally terrified.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the time it was going to be 50-50, and then that obviously changed.
That changed.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot. It's so crazy because a lot of it is fairly cliche. It's like the hardest thing I've ever done and the most beautiful thing I've ever done. It's all of the things. Those things are cliches for a reason. But
Exactly.
I remember like working through even small things, like walking Knox to the first day of school. I was a complete wreck. I was like, he was in first grade and I'm dropping him off and I'm seriously going, this is what people do. You hand your children over to strangers. Like, what if somebody's mean to him? And I'm like, how is this a thing that we've all agreed it's fine to turn over our children to strangers with a room full of chaotic kids? This is not, how is this a thing?
And many germs and everything.
Yeah. And I'm like, this poor child, he doesn't know anybody. He doesn't know. And he was fine. And I like had to pull over after dropping him off and just bawling because A, it was just so emotional, but B, it was also like we had worked so hard to get him into the school and make it happen. And like he was in the school and he was settled and all of that. And so it's everything like learning those things of, oh crap. Yeah, we have to do this. Oh yeah, we forgot to do this. Oh, what are dentist appointments? And things like that of just the logistics of parenting. And then there were other things like Knox. I first met Knox when he was 3. And so I've always been in his life as much as he can remember, maybe even 2.5. But he didn't quite he knew we were family, but he didn't quite know. And he knew I was at the time like his dad's boyfriend. But like one day we're walking to school and he introduces me to his friend's mom, and he goes, the kid goes, I'm Homer, and this is his mom. And Knox goes, I'm Knox, and this is JJ. He's my dad's brother. And I go, oh, buddy, I'm not his brother. And he goes, oh, lover. And I go, well, he can just say boyfriend. It's like, he can say boyfriend. And so a couple other times he introduced me as his dad's brother. And what we figured out was he just didn't have a name because he knew we were family and he knew we loved, but he didn't know. And I wasn't his stepdad because at one point he called me a stepdad and the sisters corrected him. So then he got embarrassed because he was calling me stepdad. So he didn't have a place. So there was also just figuring out like family dynamics and all the new things. But it was a huge learning curve and probably the hardest thing I've ever done, but also the most beautiful thing I've ever done. And then also the crazy part is at the same time is the person that I would call to probably talk about that just died. And it was like this wild. So there was a lot of kind of just very hard moments of even, oh my gosh, I wish my dad would have seen this. My dad would have loved Knox. He would have loved Jaden, and that he didn't get that. So there was walking through all of that. And we were just coming out of the pandemic. So we're figuring out how to live in general. So it was a lot, but it's taken us probably till now to feel like, oh, okay, we're okay. Yeah. And not that it was ever horrible or bad, but it's like we're not missing as many things. We're like, oh, you have to check grades. Okay, yeah, we have to do that. We have to, that they're both doing well in school. They both have their friends. They're preparing. And then we're getting ready for the next thing because Jaden is now, we have to fill out college financial aid forms and do college visits and move into the next transition. But yeah, beautiful and hard and all the things that, you hear and then you don't want to say it all the time because you hear everybody say it. But yeah, it's great, but also hard.
I am so amazed and baffled that you guys could do that. Like, just in my brain of like how I am as a parent, like, I don't think I would have handled that as well. Just let me just put that out there.
You're getting us 2 years later. Well, I mean, 3 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This would have been probably a different conversation 2 years ago.
Well, true. But still, 3 years is not long.
Yeah.
It is not that long in the grand scheme of things. And I know you don't want to tell other people's story, but can I just ask, and you can answer this however you'd like, how did the kids' adjustment side of it happen? Or
yeah, I think that would have been the different part of the conversation from 2 years ago. It was tough on my youngest daughter, I think, especially not just us moving up here, but the separation, me coming out, not in she didn't understand why I was doing it, just more so of just the constant change amount. And then things weren't super healthy and it was just a hard time in the transition to finally get separated. And then the separation and splitting time between her mom and me, and then another transition of moving up here with JJ, and then the transition of changing to a different school
while up here.
Yeah, while we're up here.
She was
a
lot from 8th grade through 8th, 9th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Basically, she went to 4 different schools. Yeah. And so because of kind of you transitioning in junior high and high school and some of that, but then some other stuff that she went through, and then also coming up here, we were zoned. That was probably the biggest stress. Was we live in an area, it's a newly renovated area that does not have great school systems. So the first week of school at her school she moved into, there was a gun at the football game, and there were fights every day at school. But that was the school she was zoned for, and we couldn't get her out of it. And then so the next year we got her into the art school, and she's thrived there. But this is the first year she's been back to back at the same school basically since 7th grade. So for her, it's finally like she's doing yearbook. Yeah, she's got friends that she's consistent with. She's on the yearbook staff. She's on prom committee. She's doing all the things that she probably could have been doing for the past 4 years, but with transition and heaviness, she just couldn't.
She didn't have the space for it.
Oh, no.
A lot of therapy for everybody.
Yes.
Oh,
all of that too. So
preach. Yeah, I'm a big believer in therapy. Let me just tell you. Yeah.
Not that it's great, but it's really a lot better.
It's never perfect. Let's just be real. We've been parents for 25 years. And just last week, I was apologizing to my oldest. I screwed up again. And she's, Mom, you're becoming so aware so fast.
Yeah, I yelled at our oldest son yesterday in the kitchen, and I paused. I'm like, sorry, buddy.
Yeah. We are all works in progress, let me tell you.
Absolutely.
And my kids are first to tell me when I've messed up.
Yeah. And JJ, you think dropping him off at school was hard. Wait till the last one goes to college. You're going to be a puddle.
Well, it was hard for him. It was my 4th kid going to school for the first time. I barely slowed the car down.
Got it. Yeah.
Get out.
First day of kindergarten for Ava. She's our youngest. We were at a new school. We had just moved. And I was like, this is going to be fine. And I told them, like, Jackson, grab her hand, make sure she gets to her room, blah, blah, blah. They get out of the car. The boys run. Ava's by herself, just walking up the sidewalk. And I'm like, it's just going to be fine. Don't work out. It's going to be fine. Like,
they got her. A teacher will get her where she needs to go.
Yeah. And now, had that been my first, we would have had another discussion. But you weren't even allowed to get out of your car in the drop-off line. So there was nothing I could do. He was like Mr. Mom directing traffic. Like, come on, keep going. I was like, have a great day.
Exactly.
All right. So we're getting to the quick fire part of the show. And these first couple questions aren't as quick fire. What I would love to know, and either of you both can answer, either of you could take it for anyone listening, go back to 35-year-old selves. For anyone listening who's thinking about, hey, this is something that I need to really lean into, explore, understand. I don't even have the right words for it. What advice would you give them? What advice would you have given yourselves back then?
You go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Man, I think just because it's hard doesn't mean it's wrong. I think a lot of times, especially when you grow up in a faith environment, it's often if things aren't going your way, then maybe God is not blessing. In some ways, like, oh, I must be disobedient, which is why this is hard, or it feels weird. But I think oftentimes there are things you just have to experience that are going to be hard. If you decide to come out of the closet, if you decide to leave a job, if you decide to move away from friends, that's going to be hard. That's not going to be easy, and it doesn't mean it's wrong. And I think that's one thing I would say is that it would just understand that any kind of big transition, no matter what it looks like, it's going to be hard, but it's also not going to be forever. And anybody who's gone through one of those things can attest to that. Do I want to go back to that 35-year-old me and experience that again? Oh, hell no. Am I glad that I went through it to be where I am today? Absolutely. So don't think that and I also think with that, don't try to redeem it too quickly. Let it be. A lot of people want to go, oh, that was really hard, and so now I'm ready to go, and it's like sweeping it under the rug. And I say, you still move forward and make those decisions in light of the pain and hardship, not in spite of it. And so and then it gets better. Yeah. But I think that's the biggest thing. Just because it's hard doesn't mean it's wrong. It will be hard no matter what kind of transition or break you're trying to make from a previous life. But that is what it takes to get to the other side. And there is another side.
Yeah. I should have went first.
Oh no, yours is going to be great. Yours is going to be great.
I say that to say that I was going to pretty much say the same thing. Is I wrestled for a long time with the guilt of uprooting not just my life, but uprooting my family's life. And if I could go back and tell that 35-year-old me one thing, is they're going to be fine. In fact, they're going to be better. And one of the things that I've really picked up on through therapy is you have to be the healthiest version of yourself. And if you want to give your family better, if you want to give a better life, you have to be the best version of yourself. And you can't do that not being fully yourself. And if I could do anything, I would go back and tell my 35-year-old self that it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. In order to be the best person that you can be for your family, you have to be the best version of yourself, or at least a better version of yourself, and working through what you need to work through and being able to show up for them in the best way possible. So that's what I would tell myself, is that work on yourself, get that done, and they'll be fine. That'll take care of what it needs to take care of.
That reminds me, my dad has a phrase that he says all the time. He doesn't say it as much because it's crabby, because he's older now, but he always would say, treat yourself tender. Treat yourself tender. It's like, he said it as it was his like way of meaning I'm going to go take a nap,
or he's going to eat a candy bar, whatever it was.
Yeah. Like fresh frozen Milky Way. But it was his way of saying, be kind to yourself, like being the best version.
And that, I know this is a fast round, but the other piece of it too is we were both 35. And I think I'm not sure I could have done it earlier. And a lot of people always wonder, do you regret not coming out earlier? I had an amazing life. Yes, there was this piece that was very hard for me and that was always weighing on me and kept me up at night and all the internal turmoil. But the reality is I am who I am because of what I experienced. And so a lot of times people want to push people to make big decisions before they're ready. And again, that could not be coming out, but it also could be ending a relationship. It could be changing jobs. It could be moving houses. It's know yourself and take the time. And yeah, maybe sometimes it could be done earlier, but also go on your terms. Like it's okay to treat yourself tender and do it when you need to do it versus on somebody else's timeline.
Yeah. And we don't have to be quick. We call these quick fire, but yeah. And there's just two things I want to say. Okay, I just have to ask this, then we can cut this out. But saying the phrase coming out of the closet, is that what just because everyone says that? Or is that it feels so to me, not it feels like negative. I understand that theory, like you were hiding and you're coming out, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I hate that you have to feel that way, like that you. So this is just more of like a hearing the phrase more than anything else. I'm just like, I'm sorry that's how you have to feel and live, and I'm very sorry that's how you had to deal with that. But I don't even know what I want you to say there. It's just more of like
straight people don't come out of the closet.
No,
like at this moment where you're like, hey, everybody, just want to let you know.
I'm straight.
Yeah, I'm straight. No, that doesn't happen. But it is. I think part of it with the way that I look at it, yes, I agree with you. It's a hard thing, but also there is a moment when for somebody who's grown up queer and ashamed, so much shame that's wrapped up in all of this, and fear. That's the two big things I would say is you're just afraid that you're going to get beat up, you're going to get mocked, you're going to get cut off. And then because of that, there's something wrong with you. So there's a lot of shame. And to have a moment or a season that you can mark as before and after, I do think is important. Like very much of to be able to say, I am like, because in essence, when you're in the closet and you get into the real world, you're code switching, right? You're trying to be masculine, or you're trying to be like butch, or you're trying to not let anything. And the idea of opening that door and letting the light in is that actually
beautiful way to look at
into a space of where you're no longer compartmentalizing your life. It's because in the closet, I'm hiding in myself. And then I open up and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to be butch JJ, and because I'm so masculine and all this stuff.
Obviously.
But, so to be able to mark a moment or a season and go, that's when things changed. I was actually becoming myself. And whatever the phrase that people own, I think in that process, I think it is important for a lot of people to say, there is a before and an after of when you can say, I was this and now I'm this. And it's not because you were never gay, but you're fully stepping into the more fullness of yourself and not hiding and not as shameful or fearful as you were before.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. That's a beautiful way to look at it. I appreciate that. My question then, the real question is, how do you wish people supported you at that time? I know there's probably some people that did it really well, but how is the best way to support someone? And if that is someone in your life decides to come out of the closet or make some big change, but let's talk specifically to that one. Like, what is the best way to support them?
Yeah, I would say just meet them where they are. Don't try to, you can't take them from one point to the next, but you can walk with them. So I would say that is probably the best way. Just be with them in the space they are. You don't have to offer advice or have a plan. This is what you need to do. Just walk with that person in that space and be with them. Yeah. Meet them where they are.
Yeah. And I'll give some really even just concrete things. I would say immediately say you love them. If you do, just say it. Don't let that be the first words that come out of your mouth. Not, I'm sorry, not, I didn't know, not, let it be, I love you, period. And you almost don't even need to say anything else for a bit. So let those be the first words that come out, because that's the biggest thing people are afraid of is, like my best friends, like you guys, Justin and I had traveled the world together, and we've worked on very deep and meaningful things that went beyond just like hanging out and being friends. Like we were giving of ourselves for projects and justice issues that involved faith and involved deep conversations late at night. And then I know that there is a piece of me that was lying to him through that whole thing. It not intentionally and not like purposeful, but there's a piece of me that I held back because we probably did talk about who are you dating. I don't know that we did, but they're probably along the lines of somewhere. Are you dating anybody? Who was the last person? Oh, she's cute. Would you go out with her? And there's even conversations like that happen that there's some kind of hidden something that you're almost lying about too. And now I have to tell this person that I've been lying to you. It's one small piece, but none of the rest of it was a lie, but this piece was a lie. And that's a piece that like, then you're just so afraid that they're going to go, this is hurtful. This is hard. I don't love you. And so the first words being, I love you, I think is it. And then and over that first conversation, let that be about it. The real stuff of working through and questions and all that stuff, you can ask some of that, but give some space before there's any real deep, like beyond process your own emotions and all that stuff. So I think that's is the biggest thing, is just say, I love you, and let that be the lead in the conversation.
I think, I've talked about this before. A lot of times when you're having that first conversation with people, what will happen is that then now their emotional needs become yours, because now you have to take care of them in that conversation, which is why I think what JJ said is so important. Yeah. Just say I love you, and don't put that, like I said, you start asking all the questions and all that stuff, you start putting that back on them to have to help you process through it in that moment. And
I thank you for sharing that. I will say, JJ, as you were telling the story, I was trying to just feel how I felt when you and I talked. And just for what it's worth, I felt honored that you told me, number one, that felt authentic, because we were friends and we've done some beautiful, amazing, hard stuff together. And I remember feeling, I can't wait to get to know JJ more. Like there was this new part of you. So I never felt betrayed or lied to. Yeah. But I was actually excited to continue to grow as friends.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's how I am too. But you always are just afraid because it's of what they're going to say or think. And I remember following up with conversations with people later and going, oh, like they told somebody in their life, because they're like, can I tell this person? And I said, yeah, you can tell them. And then later I'd say, so how'd that conversation go? And I said, and they would say, oh, we just cried and cried. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I hope that
people are ignorant,
and it's, and then you're trying to, in that moment, try to be like, how can I make you feel okay about this? And that's just the hard part. But yeah, I remember the first person I came out to, Justin actually knows her. It's Rebecca Snavely. And she was the first person I came out to, and we were at a Thai restaurant, and she literally stood up, got off. We were sitting across the table from each other. I told her the whole story. She stood up, came across the table, and just held me and just said, I love you. I love you. And that was like the best response she could have given me.
I love that. Before we get to the actual quickfire questions, and before I let JJ go, Jamey, I want you to go first. Tell me your funniest JJ story.
Oh, man.
And by the way, just as a side note for everyone listening, we have another mutual friend, Justin, and I think JJ hated this, but when we were in the van together in the middle of Africa, Justin would turn around and be like, JJ, be funny. Be funny right now. Do you remember that?
Yes. He would always just be funny.
Yeah.
Do you have any funny? You don't have any.
I don't have. My recall in moments like this is absolutely terrible. I know the funniest thing that you ever sent me in text messages. Can I tell the story about you scaring yourself?
Sure.
He has some hesitation.
The follow-up question after Jamey goes is for you to tell the funniest story you ever share about you, because I know there's a library, but Jamey, please go.
The funniest thing JJ ever sent me is, it was later at night. I was in Fayetteville. JJ was up here, and he sent me this video just randomly, no context, no anything. And I'm watching it, and he is watching this video. I don't know, some trailer for a movie, and dying laughing. He is just laughing. He cannot stop. He's like uncontrollable laughing. He's videoing himself while doing it. And about 20 seconds in, he catches a glimpse of some shadow that moves in the out of the corner of his eye. Like the curtain wafts and like light comes in, his hair's, and he jerks real fast and like scared for a second and a half, and then just busts out laughing. Like he was dying because he had scared himself in the video. And
And
could
I
not.
started choking. I was laughing so hard. It was.
Oh, that's the best.
That was.
And he was just sitting here because I don't know if you guys know this about JJ, but anybody who doesn't know, JJ cannot handle anything scary at all. Like, he doesn't watch scary movies. He doesn't like any of that, like, heart pumping, like, stuff. So, like, anything over like
a boo
is he is absolutely terrified of. Yeah. So,
and I started choking and almost threw up because I had scared myself while I was laughing and caught it all on video on accident. But
the thing too is there's so many things I love about you both, but we all know JJ has a laugh that is literally infectious. It's just you can't not look at. I can't not laugh when you laugh. It's just impossible.
Yeah. So. No, it's funny when you talk about we laugh a lot. We really do laugh a lot, and sometimes we just like giggle. But it really was like the last couple of years have been really hard. So it's been like really in the sense of we find the humor in the hard things, in the like difficult moments, or can you believe she lied to us to our face and then thought that we wouldn't know? We laugh about there kind of things. And or just like Knox, he just is a silly little kid. And so we laugh a lot, but there's been a concerted effort in this past couple of years. We're going to be grounded and here. So a lot of times I think humorous things and those kind of things happen in like when you're out and having adventures and doing all this stuff. And we've worked so hard the last couple of years to be like, create a landing place that these kids can feel safe and grounded. And it feels like in this summer is when we started going, okay, we're opening back up to the world. Yeah. We're gonna do date nights away from them, and they're gonna stay home alone. And we're going to be at places where they feel uncomfortable and like pushing them beyond the safety. But we had to get that. And so it's been a lot of head down and plodding for 2 years. And then now it's like we went to Disneyland this summer and the whole family, and it was like crazy and wild and exhausting and all the things. But yeah, so no, we laugh every day. We laugh a lot and are just goofy, but I can't even think of like some specific. Yeah,
most of them involve Knox.
Most of them.
My youngest son. He is the stuff that he says.
Yeah, like that lover comment or like. The other day we were sitting on the couch and just watching this show, and he goes, "Hey guys, do you ever think about the fact that there's hydrogen in the air and that hydrogen never goes away?" He's 7, by the way, at this point. The hydrogen never goes away. And so we're breathing in hydrogen that other people who were sitting in this spot were breathing in 100 years ago. Do you ever think about that? And we look at each other and go, no. And he goes, yeah, weird. And then all of a sudden somebody dropped some money in the movie we're watching, and he goes, oh, get that ching. And then he gets up and starts running around. It's just like, it went from the life is crazy and to all of a sudden, get that ching.
That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be.
That is. So, oh, yeah.
Knox is our constant source of entertainment.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Every family has one of those. What is one word that would describe your relationship today?
I'm making you go first on this one.
Oh, strong. I would say strong.
And I'd say weak.
Yeah.
So,
all right, goodbye.
Yeah.
Strong. I would say full.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I love it. And before we let you go, thank you again for your day. Share with me one word for the next chapter.
One word for the next chapter. I got it on my tattoo. At our wedding, we decided to have a pop-up tattoo artist. You guys really missed out. I'm just telling you.
By the way, you don't know this, but Sarah has a ton of ink. She would have loved it.
Yeah, so we had a pop-up tattoo artist. We had a drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race perform. We had the only food that I wanted was a ranch fountain. So we had a ranch fountain with things you could dip in it. And
this is why God brought us together right there, the ranch fountain.
Yeah, ranch. We had a ranch fountain, and then they gave us as a treat a honey mustard fountain. And so you can do like different things in it. We had all this different stuff. And then we had a mashed potato bar and a charcuterie table. It was a 15-foot table of charcuterie. Anyway, it was magical. But the word that I got tattooed on my arm was audacity. And that's the word right now for this next season. It's the idea of, I think, to build, well, I'll just be honest about this, to build a queer family in Tennessee and in the South takes some audacity, right? Like show up as ourselves in not to get off of anything. I know this is an uplifting podcast, but the reality is our marriage license is actually different than than straight people's marriage license in Tennessee, because the Department of Health passed a law that in order to receive the marriage license, it had to have male in the groom and female in the bride. So they had to create a different marriage license for straight people. So our marriage license here, if somehow, say, the Supreme Court overturns it on a national level, Tennessee is already set up to nullify our marriage. Jamey, if there's a law in Tennessee that both doctors and psychiatrists can refuse treatment based on religious beliefs. So if Jamey and I are in a car accident, I have to decide if he's like bleeding out, if I'm going to say that he's my husband in case the EMTs are going to deny service or not. That's the kind of thing you have to live with when you live in the South. And to show up and build a family and be fully ourselves at Cub Scouts, at soccer practice, at choir concerts, we're not wearing Speedos and glitter everywhere, but to show up fully as ourselves. On the outside, anyway. On the outside, yeah. Yeah. But to show up fully ourselves takes some audacity. And that's something he's really taught me, to show up in that way. And then we're also both building businesses right now. Jamey is building a travel business, a travel agency, and I'm building my own marketing agency and launching a podcast called Badass Softy.
Yeah, I was going to say, please plug that. I listened to the episodes this morning.
Yeah.
I was loving them.
So doing that and building, and you guys know this, when you say we are going to build something, we're going to start from scratch, or we're going to take something that was already this and we're going to change it into this, that takes some audacity. And so that's my word. I had it tattooed on my arm. And when I show up, like when I'm working with huge clients, if I walk into Microsoft and I'm working with Microsoft or Certified Angus Beef or Temper Sealy, these huge companies, and I start to get a little overwhelmed, I just go, all right, have some audacity here. It's time to build something, and that takes a little bit more than passivity.
That's good. That was a lot more than one word.
Yeah, no. Audacity.
The word, and I love the story behind it because
But Jamey, if you just want to say your word, that's fine.
You can just like drop it.
Forward.
Ooh.
Forward. Yeah. I feel like I've been stuck in survival mode my entire life. And until I met this guy, I was never in a place where I could feel like I could move forward. I've always just felt like I just needed to survive and get to the next day. And now we actually get to look forward to not just surviving, but thriving and building a future. So that's my word.
Well,
I love it.
I love it. We love you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm so sad we missed your wedding, and
especially now about the freaking ranch fountain. Who cares about seeing the vows? I miss the ranch fountain.
We'll do that again.
Well, the vows were not without events either.
Yeah.
So they're pretty funny.
Hey, you guys, we're well over time. Thank you for this. This
sorry.
show. No, it's more me respecting
your time, not
But I really appreciate this.
Thank you.
Time with you guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, we'll talk soon.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye.
Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Running Ahrens. We truly love having these conversations and sharing them with all of you.
If something resonated with you today, we'd be so grateful if you'd rate and review the show. It helps more people find us.
And if you know someone who'd connect with this episode, send it their way. You never know who might just need to hear it.
We'd also love to hear from you, your feedback, your stories, or even topics you'd like us to tackle next.
You can connect with us on our personal socials, the show's Facebook page, or through the website, runningahrens.today. And links are always in the show notes.
Until next time, keep showing up, stay kind, and remember,
life's the long run, and the best way forward is together.